Good to see you, bro. How are you?
Hey, good to see you, man.
Yeah, it's been for like 3 years.
Honestly, yeah. It's been, I think, 3 years now. 2 or 3 years for sure.
That's crazy. Wow.
Before we even begin a discussion, I have to point out this chair, bro. This chair is this a special piece? This is immaculate.
No, it's hilarious. Yeah, I'm just in like a co-working space right now. It's hilarious.
It's the final boss of men's work right here, man.
Yeah. It's the king's chair. That's what it is. The king's chair.
Yeah, man.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's been a few years, man. It seems that you've continued to expand and grow in the space of doing men's work. Do I have a pretty accurate read on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. Yeah, we had a lot of growth on socials over the last couple of years, and just been going with the flow of it, mate. It's been amazing. Still been doing what I do, just men's groups, retreats, the coaching, just loving it. Yeah, I don't know. It's been cool to see how like the content keeps refining and growing in its own way, but I think the underlying messaging has always been the same.
Yeah. What ways recently have you found it's kind of changing?
Like the messaging or the growth?
Yeah. The messaging specifically.
It's always interesting. I just let the messaging come through like my own experience with like what I'm learning in my own relationship, right? So it like becomes a kind of a sharing of my own lessons that I'm experiencing. And then through the coaching that I'm doing with the guys, I just keep like noticing patterns and trends. And like, oh, that's interesting. Like one message I've been honing in on recently is like for men who lose the sex drive in their relationships. It's like, okay, that's a common pattern I see in guys. So I'm like, okay, let me make some videos on that. And then it was interesting. A post I put out the other day got like so much hate from all these women that disagreed with the position that I had on that topic. So I was like, okay, that's interesting, and I can make another video on refining that.
let me stand that down a little bit.
Yeah. It's an interesting world, man. Like out there with like a lot of these women who still hold a lot of trauma from men. They're very sensitive to certain wording, or they're like very quick to label something as like toxic or bad advice if they're still carrying the perspective that men need to be a certain way. But what I'm seeing is like sometimes there's certain advice that men need that may still fall under that category of like red pill, whatever, but there's essences of it that are still needed for certain types of men. That's just how that's communicated.
It's a tricky situation.
There's a nuance in dancing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never thought about the situation where if what you're saying, let's say it can be useful to a certain group like men, but there is a way that it could be understood that could really ignite like really powerfully a different group of people, maybe someone who has like a trigger by it or something like that, the platform may want to actually bend it more to be used to where it's going to get more engagement, which would be kind of the outrage side of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm learning to embrace the fact that, hey, people unfollowing me is, sometimes that can be a win. It's meaning I'm creating an opinion or a perspective that is not liked by everyone, and that's not what I want. And I actually don't think that's what creates relationships that we want. Is like not everyone, not the same piece of advice is going to work for everyone. Same thing with what I'm sharing to these guys. It's like that advice, if taken by the guy who's already avoidant and not showing up in the relationship and not doing the thing or providing for his partner, becomes another excuse to just like, oh, I'm just going to avoid the hard thing. But then the same piece of advice to a guy who makes his partner his entire world and is completely enmeshed in the relationship, then that's the thing he needs to recalibrate to fill his cup. So it's like, there's nuance to all of it, but it's just, it's delicate territory for some of these women.
Have you changed at all, like in the ways you deliver the things that you're teaching from when we spoke last? Like, is the method of dispensing the information and the ways people can engage with you from a business perspective the same, or has that evolved? I think maybe the retreat was the first retreat at the time whenever we first spoke last. That was like the first one.
Maybe. I think it was the second one, if I remember correctly. Okay. Yeah, it would have been the second one. Yeah, like with skits that I do with Amanda, like they obviously are a great way to get, they hit a lot of people. But the downside of like hitting a lot of people or a lot of people following me from these skits is like, they're very like neutral in terms of the relationship advice that it offers. It's quite neutral. There's no
Yeah.
deeper, more polarizing perspective for what men may or may not need in relationships. And that's what I'm finding right now. My path is, I'm just gonna like share more of my opinion on some of these hard hitting topics, and that's probably gonna cause some people to unfollow me, or a lot of women to unfollow me. And I'm okay with that right now, because I'm more focused on like what do men actually need, truthfully. To be able to show up their best in the relationship, regardless of all the delicate wounding that's still out there, caused by red pill and manosphere as an ideology. Like, there's no denying that, but it's then I'm not going to stand down and not talk about what still needs to be talked about, because it's still triggering to some women, because that's where they choose to operate from a perspective. It's like,
Yeah.
So yeah, right now the target for content is just more opinionated stuff, more like what I'm seeing, truthfully, not intentionally trying to trigger people, but I'm more just going like, what are some of maybe the topics that I've steered away from because of fear of maybe upsetting a certain group of people or whatever. I'm just kind of done with that.
Let's do it, man. What are some of
Yeah.
those things top of mind for you?
Well, like I said to the recent post, there's an idea that a lot of women think that a man should make their woman, his entire world. Like that she should be his number one focus. And my perspective is like, no, a woman should not be your highest number one priority. Your wife should not be your highest priority, nor should your family be your highest priority. And that comes across as like triggering for someone, because that's what they think they want, but subconsciously they actually don't want that, and they may not be aware of that. So that's one thing that I'm kind of honing in on right now.
What do you mean? Why do you think why do you think there's a lot of wisdom there, and why is it hard for people to grasp onto?
Because when a man's highest priority is his relationship with God, and then as an extension of that, his highest purpose, what his soul has come into this earth to fulfill. I believe it's a mission. You can call it a mission, you can call it a path, you can call it a purpose. When a man makes that his highest priority, and his priority is to attune himself to the direction that God is moving him, and being of service to the world. That does not mean he avoids responsibilities in his side of his family. It does not mean he neglects showing up for his partner or his kids in any sort of way. No, it means when he honors his highest purpose, that then fills him up. That then expands his capacity to be the leader that his family needs. That allows him to then pour back into the people around him in a way that's needed. But sometimes that may look like, hey, I need to go on this experience without you because that's where I'm being pulled. Or I need to go hang out with this group of men to sharpen my skills as a man. And that means I'm not going to be available for the next 2 days.
Yeah. I would think that then in order for you to get that past Congress, so to speak, within your relationship, you would have to bring a certain level of trustworthiness
Yes.
to the relationship. And how do you think that's done well?
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. Like if a man's not already creating emotional safety, his woman doesn't trust him. And if he tries to say, hey, I need to go on this men's retreat and spend some time with some boys for 4 days, I'm not going to be contactable. She's going to be like, well, fuck you. Like, why haven't you been showing up for me? So there's that.
I can't even get you at home. Now you're trying to walk away.
Yeah,
like I can't even get you here.
Right. That's
here.
Exactly. So he needs to, in those scenarios, firstly understand where is he avoiding showing up for his partner. Where is he not providing in terms of what she needs from him? Where's he like falling short in these other little ways, which are very simple, that can be addressed through him getting in contact with himself and learning how to communicate and have a hard conversation and step into holding a safe space for his partner. He needs to like identify that where he's falling short, number one, or through them having a conversation, and then him taking responsibility through that and going, hey, you know what? I'm committed to being better for you in this area. I want to be that man who shows up for you in this capacity. But what I need to do that is this. This is what I need to be able to do that. And I'm going to give that to myself, and I'm going to then come back and then be this for you. And this is what's going to be different. I think a lot of men don't actually know. They don't even know what they need. Therefore, they're not even aware of how to communicate it in a way that allows their partner to feel seen and understood in that, because she's maybe feeling scared. She's maybe feeling alone. She's maybe feeling hurt by what he's done or not done in the past. But if he's not able to empathize with that, then she's not going to trust his request.
That's such a tough thing for a lot of people to do. Like, first off, you have to identify what your needs are. which that might be an interesting topic for us to just talk about, just to how men can understand what they're feeling and how they can get those needs met. What are the options? But then be able to bring that to a relationship. And the word selfish comes to mind a lot of times. Like,
Yeah.
What are kind of some of your thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah. Well, sometimes you got to be a little bit selfish if it means that, like, you got to ask yourself, like, am I compromising myself in order to keep my partner happy, in order to keep my family happy? Am I compromising something that I deeply desire?
Yeah.
And that desire could be to go on a certain adventure, to go and spend time with a certain person, could be to explore a certain outlet creatively. If that desire is being compromised in order to please someone else because they feel triggered or they feel uncomfortable about you pursuing the life that you want, then eventually you're going to resent the fuck out of that person.
Yeah.
So that's where the man has to decide. The man has to decide what's more important to him.
And it seems too like not compromising. Like, this is a really important thing to me, that I feel that I can keep this hobby in my life, or this routine with my guy friends in my life, or this project, I can have time to work on it. But it seems like where you buy the ability to do that is by stepping up at home. So there is a part of the message that can be really, really strengthening and kind of challenging for men to say, like, if you can't afford emotionally to step away from the house, where are you not meeting the needs?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, if you can't afford emotionally to step away from the house, where are you not meeting her needs? Yeah, that's a great question to ask. And then again, something that I've coached guys through in the past, which is, if it's bringing up fear or wounding or trauma in your partner or your wife through you wanting to step away, it's about going, like, wait a second, let's just hold a space for that for a moment. What's coming up in you that feels that's making you feel uneasy about me having some time? Is there something that I've done in the past that caused you to not trust me? Is there something you're still holding on to towards me that's bringing this up? Or is this related to a past relationship? Is this a past wound? Because as you can start to help identify that, there's a lot of healing for the woman as well, when a man takes ownership and responsibility for his path and what he needs. But it's about being that safe space for her to be able to work through that and being like, no, babe, like, I got you. We're going to come back even stronger. Like, I'm going to come back as the leader you fucking need. So just know that I'm here for you, but this is what needs to happen right now. Yeah.
There's such a level of groundedness and strength that comes in that conversation. I think when it's done well, that this is what I need. I'm not like begging for it from you. I'm not hoping that you give me permission to go do it. I'm saying this is something that I need, and I also am totally here to hear what you need to make sure that both of our needs are getting met. Much more invitational version of that than, like, you can do that really wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. It's tough, man, because I never really, like, in my relationship with Amanda, we've always supported each other in that way. We've both always had a relatively secure relationship within ourselves, where if she needs to explore a certain area in her life and has to go on a certain trip, I'm like, go for it. Like, that's awesome. I love that you're aware of that. But I know that's not the case for a lot of guys.
It's gotta be funny whenever you interact with a dynamic that's not like yours at home, and you're like, really?
Yeah, I know.
Seriously, she said that?
100%. Oh my gosh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I'm almost like, that's outrageous. You guys need to change that immediately.
There's a couple things that I have penned that I want to chat about, but I think there's one thing right here that I want to just park it on just for a second, is how you talk a lot about in your content, the utility of space in a relationship, and why keeping space intentionally can be really useful for maintaining attraction, maintaining the spark, maintaining that romance in your relationship. What are some of the things that a lot of the men in the audience need to hear?
When it comes to keeping space?
Yeah, the importance of space, intentionally deploying space in your relationship to maintain that attraction, maintain the sexual chemistry.
Yeah, well, like anything, man, polarity exists in the tension of opposites, right? So there can't be an opposite masculine and feminine pole when there is not space for that to be created or nurtured. So when you're always spending time around your woman, then what that does is you start to develop more more feminine qualities, because you're now in the presence of a feminine being more often. The opposite is also true. She's going to start to develop more masculine qualities because now she's in the presence of a man all the time. And as that happens, now you're slowly enmeshing your energies together. Now you become this like kind of like more feminized. She becomes a little bit more masculinized, and then now you start sort of acting like her a little bit. She starts acting like you a little bit. That's just what happens. It's human nature. When you spend time around a certain person for an extended period, you adopt their habits and characteristics in certain ways. But then you wonder why, I'm not that attracted to her anymore. Like, what's going on? Or she's not attracted to me as much anymore. What's going on? Is because as you create that space again, you create that tension, you're reconnecting back with your masculine core, your masculine edge. You're starting to sharpen that edge. You're starting to understand what that direction you have for your life is. All of these masculine qualities that a man needs start to come back online. And you would hope that the woman, when she takes space, comes back online for her. And now when you reignite and you come back together, you're like, oh, there's aliveness there again, because you're alive again.
Do you think that one of the reasons that may fall flat, at least in my mind, the reason that advice sometimes has fallen flat, because I think it almost sounds as if it's trying to reinvoke novelty in a way, instead of really emphasizing the necessity of difference and separation, even in the sense of having different experiences for a couple of weeks that you can come back to an exchange together that gives you something to connect over, the sense of like getting back to your own personal sense of connection to God or connection to purpose or play or relationship with others, sense of individual fulfillment, that then you come and you get to kind of spark it together and share it together. Do you think that's an accurate read, that it's more about the really refining and reestablishing a sense of separateness so that then we can enjoy reconnecting again?
Yeah, because the pursuit of novelty is like a man who's just chasing distraction to find some sense of aliveness in his life, because he hasn't connected to it deeply in his body. He's chasing dopamine mentally to distract himself, and that pursuit of novelty, he might think he's creating space by going to drink beers with the boys and watch a football game, but in a sense he's actually just like tuning himself out more from what he actually needs. And when he comes back to the relationship, there's still dullness there. But that's the space that a man takes. It needs to be filled with something that brings him back in contact with himself, so he can actually discover like that essence part that we're referring to. Is like, where's he being moved? Like, what's the thing that's on his heart, that's underneath all of the pressure and heaviness and anger and shame and all the emotions that are maybe blocking that? He needs to connect with what's underneath it so that he can find that direction again in his life. And that's what we're referring to. That's what will rejuvenate the attraction in the relationship.
I think a lot of guys maybe struggle with that because they don't feel a lot of purpose. Like, I think that, and maybe have a bit more of a clear read on this than I do, just because the amount of time you spend with men and kind of in our generation. But I think a lot of men in our generation feel a sense of aimlessness and purposelessness. And do you what's the message to those guys that are listening to this and say like, it sounds great to be connected to my purpose, and that might help me create more juice in my relationship. And don't we all want that, So how do I do that when I don't feel any sense of purpose? Or do I find that in my work, or is that in my like a connection with God, or is that like a hobby, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, what I've found is there's different stages where a man might start to question what his purpose is. He might get to a stage where he's in his 40s and he's developed a career path and he makes good money and he's now doing this job that he's good at. He gets rewards for it, but deep down it's not his highest purpose, and he knows it deep down. He doesn't feel alive by his work. His work doesn't light him up. There's stages where a man's in his early 20s and he realizes like, I don't even know what I want. I'm just lost. I don't know what this next thing is for me. Same thing. The man's questioning what his purpose is. Like, I went through the stage when I was in my early 20s where I was working in a corporate job and as an accountant, and I realized that this job does not light me up at all. Actually, this job depletes me. I do not enjoy this. And I went through like an existential crisis. Yeah. I just, and then some people love being an accountant. Nothing against accountants. Like, some people enjoy that stuff, but it just wasn't my naturalness. It didn't come naturally to me to be behind a computer screen pumping numbers in. And as I realized that, then the question became like, all right, what am I curious about? Like, what do I want to do? What does light me up? And I think that comes back down to what every man should be asking himself, which is like, what lights me up? What am I interested in? What do I enjoy? What do I get passionate about? and then exploring that question through, if you don't know the answer to that question, it's like sit in it for a while. Allow yourself to be in the tension of not knowing for a while. And then you start to get directed, or you start to get moved towards something. And then the idea is start to, if you work a job that you don't enjoy, start to pursue things outside of your work that you're curious in, that you're interested in, that allow you to start to nurture that spark of like, this is what I've been put on this planet to do. What are the unique gifts, talents, and abilities that God has given me that I get to figure out what they are, so that I can then use them in service to the world. Hopefully it make someone else's life easier or better through my unique talents, gifts, or abilities. Stage one is to figure out what those are.
Yeah. Something comes to mind of David Data in the book, The Way of the Superior Man, talks about if you feel aimless, if you feel purposeless, make sure to remove distractions so that you can sit with it, like you're saying. Sit with the sense of being purposeless, and sit with the sense of having no direction. I love the idea that boredom is like an evolutionarily beneficial experience that lets you know there's something more productive you could be doing with your time. So like, if you sit bored enough, you start to get the raw material that can start to move you towards that. And I think that, like for some people may be aiming, like super high into like, how can I bring my unique gifts to the world? And then I think another thing that you said that's really, really useful is just what lights you up. Like what really brings your life? What do you love to talk about? What do you care about a lot? Even if socially, even if on the gram, even if nobody else thinks it's cool, even if it's a certain game or thing you're really passionate about, like, because it's so attractive to our partners too. When we, I think a lot of guys have probably heard that from their partner, the phrase or the words like, I love how passionate you are about that. I love how much that means to you. And if you lose that, and then too, like, you can lose that, especially this whole conversation is going to be about being with women. When you lose that, part of where we lose that is in our relationship with a woman, where back to the first thing you said, we start to fixate on keeping her happy, making sure she's okay, taking care of her, and then we completely start to disappear in the process. We become just an aid to her existence instead of a separate person altogether.
Yeah, man, that's really it. Like it's so common for a man to fall into that trap.
Okay, so you got something?
Yeah, go on. No, you go.
Okay, so since we've kind of established the thread that in order for us to be able to carve out the space to reconnect with what feels like it lights us up, so that we can come back to the relationship fully, which I think, I've only got one thumb, but I would give it the best review I can give, 1.5 thumbs up. But we talked about we have to establish a sense of emotional safety at home within our relationship. What are the things that we can do as men to really, this is one of the things I want to ask you about, kind of the do's, the really important do's for caring for the woman in our life.
I mean, it's hard to just pick just one. So I would say I'll make it like two in the category of two, which is like how you love and how you lead. How you love and how you lead. So how you express love to her could be as simple as like complimenting her, really like finding the little ways that she enjoys to be made special by you is how you can show your love to her. It's like thinking about, how can I make my woman feel special, adored, like number one? How can I just shine the light on her throughout the day, or like any day, really? It's just like, how can I love her better? How can I show my love to her more? And little things go a long way for women. It could just be like a simple little kind gesture of thinking about something that she may enjoy or appreciate or want, and going out of your way to give that to her. Like I said, the compliments can go a long way. It's the little things. Remembering what's important to her. That's another really great way you can show love to her. Like if it's a friend's birthday coming up or a sister's birthday coming up, and you go, hey, I know it's your sister's birthday today. Like, I just, send her a message, or let's get on a call with her. Let's make sure we wish her happy birthday. Like, find out the things that she really values and appreciates, number one. And then the leadership part, write it down. Yeah.
Like if you don't have a note on your phone that's pinned that says things my partner cares a lot about, and then just fill it all the time. You're fucked.
Yeah. Bingo. Whatever you got to do. Anytime she says something, you're like, oh, yeah, I need to write that down.
Yeah, I love this. I think that's cool. I've always wanted to pull this shit out, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are free.
it came in handy for me recently when I proposed to my fiance now,
Yeah, I
Amanda.
saw that, man.
And thanks, man. I was trying to like plan this proposal for so long because I was like, I want to make it really special. I want this to be something, a big act of gesture of how much I love her, and I want it to be something unique, something that's going to really show
Yeah.
how much I care about her. And I was like, I don't know, it's gonna have to go beyond just a simple dinner or a simple like proposal at the beach. And I was like, I had no idea what I was going to do for months. I just had no idea. I was like, this, it's not coming to me. And then one day I was sitting on this island here in north of Ontario and just kind of chilling and chatting with some friends. And I asked them like, I want to propose to my girl. I don't know what to do. And there was a couple of girlfriends around at the time, and they were kind of giving me some ideas. And then all of a sudden, this idea came through. I was like, oh my gosh, I know one of Amanda's favorite artists is this singer from Portugal. Her name's Maro. I wonder if I could try and like get her to do a private show for us. And because that was the thing I knew would just like blow her mind. She would just lose it if she saw that. But the fact that I remembered that was her favorite artist, the fact that I had all these things listed around the things that she really cares about, made it easier for me to tap into that idea because I remembered.
Yeah.
I know that's a singer that it's like, it's not a famous singer. It's not a big time singer. It was like a unique singer that only Amanda would have loved through her time in Lisbon that she discovered. So yeah, that was one example of like putting that into practice when I managed to pull that together.
Go you for that, because that was so cool. Like you did such a good job on that, bro. I saw it and I thought, go him, man.
Thank you.
Taking the time to notice something like that, and I think that's something so important for the lady in our life, is that she wants to feel seen, and seen doesn't mean a like kind of corny, expensive gesture, even though something that you do for her specifically might end up being expensive. Like, I think the superpower is the ammunition of noticing, of listening, like the quality of your listening. Do you have an ear that's tuned for those little things where she emphasizes something that's important to her? Because you can win on a budget, bro. Like, you don't have to be spending a ton of money to make someone feel special. Sometimes people try to like overcompensate for their lack of presence by just throwing money at it, when you can do something so special like that, bro. Really good work on that, bro.
Exactly. Thanks, man. Yeah. And then the other aspect is like how you lead, right? It's like how you lead is how you take care of the direction of the relationship, the direction of your life, like making life easier for your partner. You know, obviously if your woman's around you and life is getting easier, then she's like, she can exhale, she can finally relax into your lead. So that's ultimately what they want through the leadership component too.
Leadership in relationships. That's like the core idea that I wanted to discuss with you today. I think that's an interesting, and maybe the answer to this question, like, how would you define healthy leadership in a relationship? Maybe we can contrast it against unhealthy or toxic, to use that word, leadership. I like the idea that you just said. Are you making her life easier? I think that's a really good route.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, unhealthy leadership, you could just say, is just controlling. If you're controlling your woman and telling her what she can and can't do, and it's coming from a place of insecurity or fear, then that would be the unhealthy type of leadership. And there's many different ways that can show up. And I've heard like lots of men who try to control who their woman hangs out with, control what they wear, control where they go. But then the nuance to that too is like healthy leadership could be if you're deeply secure within yourself and you know what feels right and what feels disrespectful, and you're noticing your woman hang out with certain kinds of individuals that aren't bringing the best out of her, or putting her in environments that are not kind of advantageous to the relationship, or she's wearing certain clothing that's inviting attention that you feel like, you know what, I don't feel like that sits right with me. A healthy form of leadership could be just like going, hey, I've noticed this has been happening and it's making me feel this kind of way. And I have a certain need, or I have a certain need in this relationship where I feel like I need some more respect from you in this area. So I have this request. I don't know if you'd be down, but like, I have this request for you. Would you be willing to, you know, spend a little less time with these people because I'm noticing the impact it's having on you? So it's how you deliver your communication. It's how you lead her through language. It's how you identify emotions that she may be feeling, and you initiating a conversation to talk about those emotions, having hard conversations. There's all like forms of leadership.
Is there an example sorry to cut you off, man. Is there an example that you've experienced that would be like a good illustration for that? How you can bring a request that, if it came from a space of anxiousness and fear, that might be more of a controlling demand, but could be presented as a way of, hey, I'm kind of watching out for the direction of our relationship and how that went over.
Well, like I'll give the example of someone who I was on a podcast with recently when I was in LA. Of her partner was not okay with her wearing certain clothes to Coachella. He was not okay with her hanging out with certain people at this festival she was going to, and the way he went about it was just like he was like, you need to wear a jumper around your waist every time you go to the gym because I don't want you bringing that kind of attention in. And he just obviously was like projecting his insecurities onto the relationship. And when she receives that from that angle, she thought she did what he requested because she really cared about him. But over time, she's going to feel constricted. She's going to feel controlled. Like her fullest expression isn't going to come through. And keep in mind, this woman was like a model, or she was an influencer online. So it's like finding that fine line between, you want to encourage your woman's aliveness, you want to encourage the freedom in her expression. But if there's still levels of immaturity in her behavior that don't match what you feel like would be respectful in your relationship, then it's about tuning into what's an authentic request, meaning it's coming from love, it's coming from security. Like, I'm okay in myself. I'm not trying to like control you so that I can feel okay. I'm okay. But I still have this desire that I feel like would bring us closer together. I really feel like that's the thing, bro. Is the request going to bring you guys closer together, or is it going to push you guys further away? That's how you know if it's control or leadership.
What are some examples of that, so I can understand what you mean?
Well, in the case of a man like telling a woman what to do or where to go or who she hangs out with, they're all the obvious examples. I think as well, a lot of men right now sometimes are leaning into this. The men who go into the manosphere red pill space often say that what they want for their woman is just to be like stay-at-home mom. They want her to just like cook and clean and take care of the house, and that's their that's their essence. That's where women are best. And not all women are like that. So when a man starts to project that level of control onto his woman and says that's what she should do, the question then becomes is like, does that make her come alive? Is that what she really desires? Because some women may have they might be really smart or really intelligent or have a certain skill that allows them to excel in business. Then your role as a man is to nurture what makes her come alive, support her deepest desires, rather than telling her, I want you to be a trad wife. I want you to be a trad wife because that's what I want. Well, I don't know.
And too, like, that's a really, really beautiful way to look at it too, man, that your role in kind of like a good leadership audit, if leadership is like bringing things to the surface that are directional requests, is it attached to wanting her to become her best?
Yeah.
And it can get really tangled on your own shit where you're like,
yes,
well, if she gets really great, then fuck me. Like, what if she leaves? What if she gets so cool that she's not going to want to be with me anymore? That could be really tough.
Definitely. Big time. I think if that's the underlying intention for both of you guys, you want each other to be the best versions of yourselves, then you can't really lose in the relationship if that's a core value that you both share. It's like, we want to bring the best out of each other. Well, you then know very quickly when you're straying away from that core value. Like, you can sense it. And I just know that's why I've always chosen Amanda as my partner, is because she always brings the best out of me. She's never not brought the best out of me. And that's what I value the most in my relationship. And I'd like to hope other people do as well who are listening.
Yeah. You mentioned the manosphere.
Otherwise, why are you with that person? You know what I mean? This person why would you hang out with a person who's not bringing the best out of you, aside from the fact that you're just trauma bonded with them? And it's just like an attachment you can't break.
Honestly, that's a very useful question. Just familiarity and by default.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. People are afraid of confronting their wounds if they were to let go of this person who is the perfect comfort blanket.
How might
anyway, you were going to ask something about sorry, I cut you off because you were going to ask something about the manosphere, so I was curious.
Yeah. Like, what's the manosphere? What's the red pill thing? What are you talking about?
Did you watch the documentary on Netflix that was made about that topic?
I don't think I did. I know I watched a kind of like documentary. I think I watched maybe a little bit of documentary. I can't remember if it was or not.
Yeah, well, there's a documentary recently that came out like 6 months ago about the manosphere and red pill, where this the host kind of went and infiltrated that some of the leaders in that whole space and kind of got a behind the scenes look at some of the ideologies that they stand for, and a lot of it is quite toxic in terms of how they view women. And you could say that the person who made it mainly mainstream was Andrew Tate and his philosophies and his views. Now, yeah, there's obviously so many aspects of that were unhealthy. I do feel like there's some aspects of it that were beneficial to young men and what it's allowed the masculine space to step into, but it's created so much wounding for women because it just resembled a lot of this unintegrated masculinity where men thought they knew what was best for women. Men who kind of claim to be like, this is the way it is. Women do this and men do this. And I think there's just so much nuance to that when a man doesn't develop a more emotional maturity. When he goes through his own emotional work, he realizes like, there's a new wave of consciousness that is so far beyond these traditional roles that still have a place, but there's like another wave of that, like we were saying before, where a woman can explore what does she want deep down, like outside of the projections that are placed on her. Same as a man. What does a man want, like deep down? Like that should be the primary role. And I think that whole space had so much. Oh, it's just so much like loaded perspectives from these men who just got fully indoctrinated to this viewpoint.
Do you feel like the kind of next stage for men in our roles and relationships with women is moving away from being like material provision and into more like, bro, you gotta get in touch with your emotional body and learn how to process, metabolize emotions, communicate, etc., or you're gonna fucking suck.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. But unfortunately, the world still perpetuates or feeds the disembodiment or the disconnection from emotions, because it just feeds impulses, just feeds people chasing, like, because the word desire, like there's two different types of desire. There's the desire you have as an impulse, where you're chasing dopamine, you're chasing distraction, you want to numb yourself. Those desires are pulling you away from what your soul deeply craves. So there's this desire of like, what does your soul want? And the desire of like, what does my mind want? And sometimes like the desire of like my body, if your body is, you might think you want something, but if it's just an addiction, then that's when you're getting pulled down the path of distraction. So it's like really discerning what's a true and authentic desire that my soul really wants, and knowing how to discern that is a part of that. But the only way you can connect with that is if you got in contact with your emotionality, you're able to sit with your emotions, you're able to learn to move through different emotional experiences without identifying with them, and knowing who you really are underneath the surface as the one who's aware of it all, the one that's the seed of the I am, right? And as you kind of sit back and recognize that who you are is the sky, like in the metaphor of the analogy of the sky, you are the sky and the motion's just the clouds passing through. If you don't identify with the clouds and you just allow all these clouds to pass through, and remember that I'm the sky. I'm the sky. Like I'm infinite in nature. I'm abundant as because I'm the source. Then when you operate from that place, from that identity, you realize that there's nothing for you to prove out there. There's nothing for you to get out there. Everything out there is just an effect of an underlying cause from which who you've decided to be. Right. So it's like people, when they're chasing impulse and desire, like they're trying to chase it out there, but everything you desire is already exists in here. You already have it. It's just about reorientating your identity to the one who already has it.
I just love that take on suffering, that suffering is projecting externally what you've disconnected with internally and trying to chase it down.
It's
you
good.
don't feel empowered inside, so you chase down the external symbol of power. You don't feel love, so you chase down approval. You don't feel connected to your own turn on, so you just constantly consume sex. And it makes me think about like David Data did a lot of teaching on that kind of stuff. I like the phrase in his book, the recent book, The Man of Zero, where he says all experience dissolves into your awareness. So like, don't chase experience. Don't chase, it's just going to disappear back to where you are,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful realization. Well, it's beautiful to think about it and realize that it's a whole nother thing to actually live from that place. And I think it's what David Data does so well, and certain other people that I've got in contact with over the journey. It's just like it's hard to decondition yourself from like all the old fucking stories and beliefs that keep you away from that truth.
Which, why does Homeboy not use a camera? Like on any of his, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I listened to some of his interview with Chris Williamson the other day.
Was he on camera then?
No, he wasn't on camera. No.
Bro, I haven't watched it yet because I was like, I'm sure he's sitting in front of Chris. I can watch literally David talk about it. But I don't know. Do we know for sure 100% that David Data exists anymore? If it's not like an info bank, like a Notebook LM of all his teachings?
It's a great question. No, we're never going to know. Yeah. It's so true. It could just be an AI
flying. I didn't know that, man. I did not know that even his interview with Chris was not on video. I would have been sure he had it on video for Chris.
What other interviews did you listen to him recently?
I just listened to the when he did his book release. He did kind of like a pre-book release Q&A type situation.
Okay.
I was like, yo, let's go, man. David's absolutely, David is the GOAT, amazing teacher. His books are incredible. Man, he's perfect fine. However, dude does not use a camera, and like it was such a letdown. I was like, wait, where is David? People were commenting like, hey, camera's not on, and then the people that were like kind of helping out in the Zoom call were like, David doesn't use a camera. Like, hey, bro, why?
So funny. It's so funny. Maybe it's an energetic thing. Could be an energetic thing.
What do you mean?
Well, like if you're using a camera, like I don't know, you got people like looking at you. Maybe he doesn't want people looking at him. It's like he doesn't want people's attention. Like I don't know. It's just, or maybe it's a part of his like way he stays grounded in himself. He doesn't want to be like looking at a screen. Maybe he's answering questions, like fucking staying in his body and just like walking around. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, whatever gives us the best version of David, I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. 1,000%.
If he's laying in a sensory deprivation float tank, man, staring out the starry night sky, I'm okay with it because dude's got.
That's it. 1,000%.
Did you read the book recently, The Man of Zero?
No, I haven't. How is it? It's on my list of something I'd love to check out.
It's really interesting, man. You read the book The Way of the Superior Man?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, great book. He essentially kind of set it up as like a hierarchy, like you have basic man, and P.S. He also says that all men at all points in life just kind of do this back and forth. So it's not like you graduate and you're there. So I think that's a useful frame he gave. But like basic man, kind of chasing distraction, chasing external fulfillment. Superior man, more connected inside with a sense of purpose, desire to give the gifts to the world. The Man of Zero is kind of like just a man who no longer desires anything from anything and just wants to. I see it like he's kind of reached the monkhood stage where he's just like,
of course.
What does life or anything have to offer me that I don't have within already?
Yeah,
which is really, really good. It seems to have a lot of ideas about effortlessness, which is really cool. Effortlessness in connection to your woman, effortlessness in sex. It's interesting. It can be depressing if you read it in one way, but I think it's useful too.
Yeah, it's probably a reflection of the place that he's arrived at in his own journey, which is cool to know that is a place to arrive at as we keep going down this path. I think as young men or as a man who's still in a certain stage, it's like not thinking that you should be at that stage already. It's like I feel like it's perfectly normal and natural to still be at a certain stage of like wanting to. And I accepted that early on as well, because I remember when in my early 20s when I went deep into like the spiritual path and I was reading all these books like Eckhart Tolle and Ram Dass and all of that, and I was like, oh, that's all I need to be. I'm just gonna like let go of all my desires and just kind of be the one that doesn't need anything from the external world. And I went through that period for a period of time, and I was like happy when I left my job and started just doing work that I loved and was making minimum wage, working in a meditation studio and working in wellness clinics. But then when I realized that I don't have a lot of money right now. I gotta pay rent. Like I probably get a job that pays me a little bit more money here, and like, you know, and that's when I kind of came back into the world as someone who's like, okay, there are certain things that I want to experience in this life, certain luxuries, certain things that I want to accomplish. That's going to require me to generate wealth, and that's where a stage that I feel like you get to go through as individual It's like,
I
if you
think
want
it
to have
could,
these experiences, great.
yeah, and I think that might be a good audit of sorts. Like if it's really hard to let go, you're not done yet.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you still
Yeah.
are itching to like get more, like go get it until I think what
Yeah.
David says in his book is like do it until you're done, and then you're done.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think from an age perspective too, it's probably normal as a man gets into his 50s, 60s, 70s, that if he has been on this path for a period of time, then it's natural that you arrive at this place of going, okay, I've got everything I needed from the external world.
Yeah.
My desire to have more things is now not there, and I'm at this place of zero where I'm quite content with what is.
Yeah.
I think Ram Dass kind of got there as well in the back
Oh
end of his
yeah.
life. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
is so
Not kind
crazy
of. He
that
was there.
to still be occupying, not to get like a whirl off the path here, but like it's so crazy to think about someone still occupying a body but being completely checked out. Like,
Yeah, I know. I know.
like give it to somebody else, bro. You're not gonna use it.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. I know it's yeah. Again, it depends on if that's a man's mission and purpose to arrive at that state. Probably not everyone's, only a select few.
And you can tell me if this kind of latches on for you, if there's something interesting here for you to talk about. If not, we can move on. But one of the things that really interests me a lot about David Data's teachings, not even just specifically from the book, so I'm not talking about the content that you haven't really engaged with a lot, but like just his whole perspective that what your woman really craves from you is your presence, not something that you layer onto it, not something that you do, but the quality and the depth of your presence in a moment with her. And that's been so helpful in my life, man. So helpful.
Big time. Yeah, it's like, how do you cultivate that level of depth of presence and wholeness and fulfillment inside of you, so that when you are around her, she can feel that, and she can interact with that. And that's the question that every man should be asking: is like, how do I go deeper? How do I go deeper inside of me so that I can fill my cup up in such a way where I'm good? I don't need anything from her, from the world. Yeah.
The depth in self. This kind of ties into a question I wanted to ask you, since we're talking about the importance of men to evolve into more emotionally, inept. I guess inept.
Yeah.
Equipped. Just I'm interested to hear what your suggestions would be about just any practices for men, or in the depth department with developing for a guy that hears this and goes like, okay, presence. So like present, I'm here, body's in the chair, I'm at dinner, what the fuck you talking about? What does presence mean from the area that we're discussing?
Yeah. The ability to just like sit with yourself and not run from yourself, or not avoid the tension and heaviness and tightness that sometimes comes up in the body when we just stay still for a moment, when you don't reach for the phone or you don't put on Netflix, or you just like allow yourself to be in the nothingness or the emptiness of an empty schedule. Like so many men, like if their calendar is not fully booked the entire day, every day, like it creates anxiety in them. So it's like being able to be all right with space in your life.
Does it create anxiety, or does it reveal the anxiety?
Probably a bit of both. Yeah, I feel like that for me, when I first started like my business, I remember thinking that I needed to be coaching all the time. I needed to have like productivity in the calendar. I needed always to be doing something. And the moment my calendar wasn't full, it would trigger this like fear that I'm not doing enough. This fear that I might not make enough money, and I might fail, and I might let people down, and then that would bring up anxiety in me. And then the way that I would avoid the anxiety is I would just work harder. I would just caffeinate more, and that would be the indicator for me that I'm not able to bring a level of depth of presence to my partner, because I'm filling the space with all this stuff. I'm not able to allow this emotion to come up in me, right? Like allow the anxiety to come up in me, which is what the space is bringing, and going, this is not who I am. This is something that's moving through me. This is a pattern. This is conditioning through an old story that I bought into that says my worth is based on what I do.
You're saying that the routine you were keeping at the time, you began to get a sense of awareness of it, that this is me reenacting, this is me acting out from something that happened in the past. I need to get away and retire this old behavior.
Exactly. Yeah. Retire this old identity. The behavior was attached to the old identity that says my worth is based on what I produce, what I do, what I achieve. So as I
Oh,
retire that old identity and rest into the fact that like my worth is produced, my worth is connected to who I am, and who I am is a part of God. I come from God. I'm a child of God. And we're all that at our core, right? So it's like resting back into the identity of, if that's who I am and I can choose that and select that, then my worth is infinite. There's nothing I need to do out there to feel worthy, because I am worthy.
such an interesting experience too for a man to have who is a high producing man, like who does really jive with the get and go and is conscientious and wants to work hard and wants to provide and enjoys bringing back a kill and all that kind of stuff. To
Yep.
also allow opportunities in his relationship to show the vulnerability that moves past the I'm a producer and I'm a go getter, and allow your heart to be nourished. That's been really beautiful in my own life. Just allowing myself to have different modes, like have relational mode and have work mode, and use those differently.
Yes, definitely, 100%. Yeah, and recognizing that just because you relinquish the identity of like, I'm someone who always needs to do to prove his worth, or I am this person who's like got a full calendar and is super productive, just because you relinquish that doesn't make you lose the drive. You don't lose your drive or your capacity to achieve great things. In fact, it amplifies that, because now the energy that's now moving through you is so much more in alignment, that it has a much larger impact, because it's like a lion. When a lion does three main things. You get to, I've been to Africa, I've watched how lions operate. They're resting 70% of the time. I would say 80% of the time they're doing nothing. They're resting. They're sleeping. Lions sleep more than most other animals.
It's like 20 hours a day.
Yeah, it's crazy, because the main thing that they're setting themselves up for is when it's time to catch something, to hunt, the amount of energy that they exude. It's like boom. It's like when they strike, it's potent, it's powerful. They attack. Boom. When they catch it, boom. That's it. Done. They've just caught food that's going to feed their entire family for the week. But if the lion was thinking it needs to be productive, it's like, fuck, I don't have time to sleep. I got to go out there and start looking for food right now. Then when it's time for it to hunt, it's at like 50%.
Yeah.
And same goes for like us as entrepreneurs. It's like, if you act like a lion, most of your activities that aren't you hunting should be you resting. It should be you just like recalibrating the internal reserves. Then when it's time for you to go, like, now I'm gonna coach someone. Boom, it's time for me to hunt, like full sprint, because I've got the reserves to go. Or it's time for me to make that piece of content. Cool, poof, there's heaps of energy there to make that. That's the thing that creates difference and value, and people can feel that. Because when a person's not operating from fear and scarcity in their life, you're able to just like, cool, it's 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'm going to go fucking get a massage. I'm going to go have a nap. I'm going to go like chill.
Yeah, too, it's a really important separation to make, that your value is based on what you produce within a certain context, and that is the workplace specifically. But that rule book, your value in the workplace is totally based on what you produce, like the end, your value. Yeah. But when you come home, your values and the ability to be present, the ability to move from your heart, the ability to listen. And you can't, I think it's really cool that it seems like a lot of people, a lot of guys specifically, are running up against that problem, where it seems that the women in our lives, those with children, are really expressing more of this dissatisfaction with the work stuff.
100%.
It's really cool, man.
100%, man.
One thing that comes to mind too, just continue to talk about the practices to cultivate depth. It doesn't seem depth is fast. And that's the tricky part with people that are high producers. You go, 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 go. I don't think you could, I don't think you can speed depth.
No, you really can't. You really can't. It's not something you can biohack your way to depth or optimize. Yeah.
How to get twice as deep in half the time, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun. Yeah, it's fascinating. It's really fascinating in a world that like demands speed, especially in a culture like America that demands speed. It kind of sometimes comes at the cost of depth. We go to other cultures, European cultures, or even in many other cultures where it's like this pace is significantly slower. You just find yourself like feeling more alive when you're in those cultures, because you're not being pulled into operating from this fast pace that's very mental. So nature will automatically bring that out of you. When you're in nature, doesn't matter where you are, if you're away from noise, then you're going to find depth a lot quicker. Funnily enough, like we're referring to speed, but depth will happen quicker because you kind of got no other option but to unwire yourself from all the stimulation that's creating dysregulation in your nervous system. And so you can try and be in depth, but if you're in an environment that's perpetuating distraction and noise and overstimulation, it's going to be hard to get there. A lot harder to get there.
The other things that are on my mind, I want to be mindful of your time. Were you planning for 60 or 90 today?
Oh no, I've got another 30 minutes at least. Yeah, let's keep going.
The emotional practices, man, for men to show up. What I'm really interested here is to dig into your brain a bit about the pitfalls that men have in their relationships with their partners when it comes to communicating. Like some of the skits you put up are really, really insightful with that, with your Instagram. Noticing the ways that the feedback we get from our partner is not seen as opportunity to meet her more closely, opportunity to meet her needs. How cool is that when your partner says, hey, I need something from you?
Yeah.
How great is that versus hearing it as a you're not good enough. What are some of the just like starter pack tool belt that we can give some guys that says, hey, just if you don't do anything else, just kind of use these references when you're communicating with your partner?
Well, one of the things that I took from this book called The Masculine in Relationships by a guy called G.S. Youngblood. It's a great book. Highly recommend it for guys in relationships. But he talks about this thing of like hearing the pain and not the blame. So when a woman's like blaming you for something, or she's getting angry at you, or you're feeling like she's fucking always on your case, then what's the pain that's underneath that for her? And if you can start to take that perspective of like what's the unmet emotional need that she's experiencing right now, and you can start to get curious about her complaints and almost see them as disguised statements for unmet emotional needs, then you can get really good at just kind of like dodging attacks. You can dodge the little like word kind of bullets that come at you and not take them personally, because you know they're just a reflection of an area where she's feeling upset or hurt through her not feeling seen or understood by you. So that's just like the language of it, and just understanding that all disagreements are coming from unmet emotional needs.
Say that again. Just say that specific line you said again.
That all disagreements come from unmet emotional needs. That part or the part before?
Yeah, the part before, about like something about the way her complaints, it's something about the pain.
Yeah, every complaint of hers is a disguised statement of a hidden unmet emotional need.
Oh yeah, it's really, really wonderful, man. There's the opportunity right there.
Yeah, exactly. So if a man can remember that, sometimes it's hard to do when he says something that just like triggers you that way, that like, fuck, like it really hits that mark, and your body responds, and you want to defend, and you want to like
you want to hit a Chris Brown on her.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's like you got to notice that urge to want to defend and like shut down or avoid or hide, and you know what? Okay. Let me be in this intensity for a moment. Let me be with this. Let me breathe and like notice like, cool, what's the unmet emotional need that's going on inside of her right now? What's she feeling? What's she feeling and what's she needing? What's she feeling and what she's needing? If you can like decode that or understand the difference between a feeling and a non-feeling, then you can help guide her back into her body and express the truth of what's going on without you reacting to it.
And two, like in that moment, you have two options. You can two options in my mind. You can defend, or you can really seek to understand where she's coming from. And what's really cool, what it seems to be like kind of a cheat code for the guys, like,
yeah,
if you just like in the moment, you don't have to change anything. You could just get down to what she's really saying and understand it, and just kind of like gently and open-heartedly echo back to her what she's saying. Did I make you feel like I didn't care about you? Or did you feel like I wasn't prioritizing you? Or did it make you feel like I wasn't missing you too? Or, like really just say like, I could get someone to give me $1 million cash right now. If in 5 minutes I can understand what she's trying to tell me, like play that game. And then you'll just find that she just kind of releases it, and then you're back to connection again. And you didn't have to change anything about your routine. You just had to hear her.
Exactly. Yeah, bingo. Yeah. And that's a skill. That's a real skill that you can learn as a man, to learn how to be present without defending, justifying, or minimizing her experience. It's a skill.
Oh, it's so useful to not go in that defense mode. I feel it in my body when we talk about it, man. Just the practice of taking a breath and sitting in your seat, relaxing your feet a bit, realizing there's no emergency here. Nothing has to happen right now. You can see if you can get time to slow down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you feel your tongue in your mouth? Can you breathe for a second? And maybe even just ask her, if you want another cheat code, tell me again so I can understand what you're saying. Like something that just buys you more time, like just to get her to run it through again so that you can really settle it down and respond.
Exactly.
Dude,
man.
Go ahead, bro.
No, that was it. I was just agreeing with what you were saying.
Do you think there's value there, or am I off the beaten path here on the idea that maybe there's times where she doesn't even really need you to do anything about it, or change anything, or pick up a new project, or begin to change a new part of yourself, or change she just literally wants you to hear her in a way that makes her feel like you go, yeah, I get that, I understand that, and then it could be over.
Yeah. Most of the time, probably. Most of the time, there's not like a problem that needs to be solved. Like I have this client who's like a software engineer, and like his job is literally just to solve problems for software, and he treats his emotions like a problem to be solved, like he does in his workplace. And his mind's always trying to figure out the problem with this emotion that's going on right now. And if that's the case, if you're treating your own problems like if you're treating your own emotions like a problem to be solved, then you're going to do the same thing with your woman's emotions. You're going to look at her emotions, and go, how do I fix this? What's the way that I solve this? Like, what does she need from me right now to provide that solution for her? Well, like you said, oftentimes she's not needing a solution or a 5-step strategy or the outcome. She's just needing you to empathize with her in her emotional experience. And just by doing that alone, that's maybe all she needs, and she's good. But the caveat to that is, like, as a man, you got to know what your limit is with that. Like, how much availability do you have right now to hold that space for your partner? Because it requires a lot of you sometimes. That presence, like it's being present for your partner for 15 minutes as she unpacks this emotional thing that's happening to her. That can take a lot out of you. And as you start to lose that presence, or that ability to be in it with her, you got to be truthful and be like, hey, honestly, sweetheart, I want to be in this with you, but I'm losing the capacity right now. I've had a long day, and I'm just like noticing I'm going into my head a little bit, and I really care about what you're saying. So maybe we just like go at it for 2 more minutes, and then let's wrap it here, and maybe you can continue this conversation with some friends, or we can revisit it tomorrow. Boom.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. That's important. You're not just there like fucking white knuckling it, and you're just exhausted from the day because you don't want to let her down.
Yeah, because you're an important part of that interaction, and you want to be there for it presently. And if you feel like, I think that's a really important thing, and I think John Wineland talks about that in the book From the Core. I think is his book there. Great read.
Yeah.
Knowing your edge and honoring that. It's so respectful for yourself and for her to say what you just said. I really value what you're telling me right now, and I want to be here for it completely. I'm just a little bit spread thin. Can we do this tomorrow after you're back home from work, or can we do this tomorrow at dinner? I want to carve out space so I can give you I want to give you my full attention for this, because what you're saying is important. Yeah, it's good. It's hard for her to give a bad response to that, because you're like, I want to value this more.
And you're also honoring yourself. You're not compromising yourself in order to please, and that's like a big pattern that a lot of men fall into, is this like people pleasing, like giving up their power because they don't want to upset someone or take up that space. But it does the opposite. Yeah.
One idea in the relationships, another one that I want to explore with you is it's along the same lines. But recently I've been thinking about the idea that often some conversations don't even need to be had. Like if there's a disagreement, I think for a lot of times us as men, we're like, we need to talk about this and solve this to get to resolution. Same. Instead of just, is there in your world, in your mind, is there a place where you think maybe sometimes you don't even need to have the conversations at all? You can live in disagreement and just refine love together and get back to play.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's going to be times when you can just both agree to disagree. I think there's and that's okay. Like, you can still kind of thrive. And someone, one of the guys in my men's group recently was talking about this. He was saying, when you get to make a decision around a topic in your relationship with your partner or your wife or your girlfriend, whereas if you guys have a disagreement or there's something about her stance, her perspective, or the way she is that bothers you, you get to ask yourself the question is like, the love that I have for her and this relationship, does it outweigh this small thing that I disagree with her on? And if it doesn't, then you've got a serious thing to address, whether you because it's going to keep affecting the relationship. But if it's like, cool, if that one little thing about her perspective that like bothers me, and the love that I give and receive from her is way bigger than that, then cool, I can move on without us having complete agreement there. And it's going to happen, like, especially culturally as well. If you're dating someone from another culture, maybe there's cultural perspectives, cultural views, cultural values that are just maybe you don't align with. And if you can operate through that, even though that there's differences, then that's totally doable.
My dad would always say the phrase, "Do you want to be right or do you want to be in a relationship?"
That's hilarious.
What do you think about some of Data's or David, maybe the real David, maybe the AI David? We don't know who we're discussing at this point, but still powerful insights. What do you think about David Data's idea that, because I don't know what I think about this, man, that your woman's moods and criticisms, he even throws the word abuse in there, which I'm like, bro, that's kind of out there, is a test of your love, not a legitimate thing that needs to be solved. It's just she wants to feel that you're not going to leave with that type of sometimes powerfully disruptive energy. And your job is just to stay present for it and to let it dissolve in your presence. Question mark? What do you think?
Well, it depends on the woman, I feel. It depends on, like, if that expression is coming from the fear of her not knowing if you're going to leave or stay, then maybe she will unconsciously test you by throwing those things at you. But I can't speak for that in my relationship with Amanda, because I've always chosen her. We always have chosen each other in like moment to moment. So like our disagreements, or we rarely ever have fights really. But like the disagreements that we have don't turn into those kinds of situations, because she's not like fearing, is he going to leave me? Because she had an amazing dad, right? So not every guy has the blessing to date a woman who had a great father, right? Because that's where this wounding comes from. So if your woman had a really poor relationship with her dad, then you may have to confront a lot of those things, because she's just playing out that childhood conditioning, which is like, is my dad going to leave me again? Is the man that I love, is he going to just like dip and not come back? So I think that's the nuance there, and the discernment.
Yeah. It's really good stuff, man. I know that you said we started off this conversation by just saying there was a couple of things top of mind for you that felt were a little bit more opinionated. Is there anything else that you want to throw out there for us to discuss, or we've kind of covered a lot of the stuff for today? I'd love to get something fresh off the dome from Jordan that even Instagram hasn't seen.
Well, I think the opinionated stuff is slowly starting to come through. I think one of the things that I had made a post about previously, which was like, your wife or your girlfriend, or even as a man, is it okay to have friends of the opposite sex if you're in a relationship? And like, I am under the opinion or the view that there is a significant decrease in the desire to have friends of the opposite sex if you're in a committed, loving, healthy relationship. Why would you have the need to want to find new friends in the opposite sex if you are in a committed, healthy, loving relationship? Now, you may still have friends that come from one of your best friends' wife, you're hanging out with her and you become close friends with her. Like, you're probably not going to hang out with her outside of the interactions with your friend, but you may still have friends of the opposite sex. But what I'm saying is, you're not going to go to a bar, go to an event, and strike up a conversation with this random person who's the opposite sex, and now you guys are going to hang out separately from your relationship, and you're going to tell your wife, hey, I've got this really cool friend that I'm going to have dinner with tonight because we just clicked, we just got it on, and we're going to hang out. That stuff, I believe, wouldn't happen if you're in a healthy, loving relationship. Likewise with your missus, she's not going to say, hey, I've got this great friend that I met, we're going to go to the bar and have a couple of drinks and just hit it off. I'm going to be like, fucking sit there and be okay with that. That would reveal. And I'm saying this because, like, I've been in this position before in the past in my relationship where I noticed that happening. My woman was hanging out with these friends, and I was going like, wait a second, why is that happening? Why is she feeling the need or the desire to have friends of the opposite sex that I don't know? And it revealed an area where I was not showing up and not providing and not being the man that provided, but all of those ways where she wouldn't want that. And the other aspect of that too is obviously her communicating, the person of the opposite sex communicating, hey, I'm not feeling, there's a need again that's going missing here, that's causing me to feel like I'm disconnected from you, that I'm feeling alone in this relationship. So again, the mature way of handling that is communicating it, number one, and then addressing it and showing up as the person who can provide that for your partner.
But do you think that the person desiring a relationship with the opposite sex outside of your partnership is a representation of a need that's not being met in the relationship? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. If you have a need that's unmet in the relationship, then you're going to seek to fulfill that somewhere else, right? Somewhere else. No, won't always be the opposite sex, but that is usually where most people go to fulfill.
And is that specifically what you're saying? The reason it's not okay in your mind is because it's what they're going after is something from the masculine, or vice versa. We would go for the feminine that we're not getting in our partner, or is it something like maybe a certain like a commonality in a hobby, or a certain shared humor, or a certain interest in something like that you don't have in your partnership that is also unhealthy in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, like I think David Deida mentions it in his book, right? If a man doesn't get that feminine aspect fulfilled by his partner, he's going to drink alcohol and watch sport and like allow himself to indulge in other feminine things like watch porn and all of these things, right? There's outlets where you're going to seek that feminine energy in your life if you're not allowing yourself to receive it fully through the woman that is in front of you right now. And same thing with women in seeking the masculine, right? So I think it is reflections of just these desires for feminine and masculine energy that we all have as in our biology. Get going.
How do we reconcile the idea of not being able to be everything for our partner, but also what you're talking about?
Yeah. Well, realizing like when you have that perspective of who you are and realize the true I am above all of the identities that we place on ourselves and the physical desires that we think we need. When you recognize underneath all of it who you are as someone who's always provided for, always has enough, and you can continuously keep resting back to that place, that goes back to the difference between when there's an impulse and a desire. Because so many people are letting impulses run them that then turn into unhealthy outlets of seeking, I need this distraction, this feminine thing, like let me pull out that and this. But when you tune into that and rest and let yourself move beyond the impulses and you connect deeper with your desires, then you can align on like, is this something that I can discuss with my partner? Is this an authentic desire I want to bring up around my significant other? Because maybe they can meet me here where we're at. Or is this a desire I need to explore on my own outside of the relationship? That's the nuance, is like having the space in your life to be able to listen and tune into, where's God moving me? What do I need to experience right now?
When you talk about bringing it to your partner, it takes on something completely different in my brain that I wanted to ask you about. There's a balance that I see in a relationship where you don't want to make your partner your therapist. You don't want to bring to her saying like, I don't know what I'm doing with my day. I feel aimless. I feel, like this, all the kind of unworked through stuff you have in your heart, in your life. Because in my mind, it kills the romantic dance you guys do together where you guys are lovers and partners. But then also to co-regulate requires vulnerability and requires to open up and to be seen in your pain. how do you
Yes.
talk to and teach guys to navigate those?
Yeah. Well, you need to have an outlet, number one. That's not just your relationship. Like, yeah, a man needs an outlet outside of his relationship. A woman needs an outlet outside of the relationship. Otherwise, then again, you're just processing with each other. That's not a good space to be. But then obviously there's times where you get to discuss with each other what's coming up throughout the interactions, what you're learning through each other. Like, and sometimes a man, I don't really fall under the category of believing a man should process emotional charge around his partner or expect his partner to hold a space for him. He goes, processes that outside of the relationship, and now he can be that solid rock or that solid space for his woman to maybe process some emotional charge around him because he's available for it. That would be the difference. Because it's more of a masculine position to be in when you're holding space for someone. You've got the masculine frame of the relationship, and this person's in their emotions and like feeling all these things. Like, you're the one going, hey, I got you. We're in this together. I got you.
And in a means of maintaining the masculine and feminine polarity relationship, you're saying you have the needs to express and process and have your emotions be felt and seen and like metabolized. However, in order to maintain this polarity in this relationship, maybe do that elsewhere in the outlet. So then come back and can play your masculine role.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if the woman is always processing emotional charge around her man, and then the man's realizing, fuck, I don't have the capacity for this right now. Like we were saying before, he's like hitting his limit. That's when he gets to go, hey, babe, like maybe this is something for your therapist right now because you keep bringing this up around me and I want to be here supporting you, but I only have a certain amount of bandwidth each day that I can give. And I'm starting to hit it right now. Right. And that's when the man gets to go, is she making my life easier or harder right now? If she's always coming to me with problems and this happened with Jenny today, and then she really pissed me off. Now you're like, fuck, like this is exhausting. I've just spent a whole day in the business trying to like fucking, show up for clients and whatnot. Now I gotta show up for you every single day. That's where for the ladies, it's like, no. You want to make a man's life easier, so make sure you also have an outlet to process your shit, so that you can also show up for your man and be the one that like lifts his day when he's had a tough one. So it's that.
It seems like there's a theme here of honoring the space you guys are creating together, that you don't just bring your shit and expect it to be processed together, but you do maybe like intentionally reveal and share your pain, what you're working on, what you're going through, so that you feel connected, but not necessarily like looking to the other person to process it with you.
Bingo. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're on the same team. They're on the same team to help each other move through whatever is going on, but you still want to make sure you have support that isn't just your partner. It goes without saying, Yeah.
One of the last questions I asked you mentioned David did saying that when a man doesn't feel fulfilled, he goes to alcohol, drugs, pornography, those types of things. What's your read on pornography with the way it affects relationships with the men you work with?
It desensitizes a man. That's the main thing it does. It desensitizes him. And one of the main priorities a man should have is to be more sensitive in his life. Because when you're more sensitive, like you said, you can notice when a cloud is passing. And when I say a cloud, it could be an emotion. Emotion is passing. Emotion is coming up. A cloud is coming up for me, and I'm sensitive to these clouds. So I'm like, oh, there's some anxiety here. Oh, there's some fear. There's some doubt. There's some overwhelm. There's some anger in me right now. I'm sensitive to that. So then let me allow myself to have that space to allow this cloud to pass. And by doing that, you can then become sensitive to other people's emotions, other people's experiences. And when you're energetically sensitive, then you're more attuned to the people around you. But when you watch porn and you ejaculate frequently, you're allowing yourself to go into visual stimulation, dopamine, and you're just like constantly in fantasy or in that world, then you're cutting yourself off from feeling deeply, because porn for most people is an escape. It's a numb. They want to numb themselves from the uncomfortability that's in their bodies that they don't want to look at. So porn is like fucking social media on steroids. It's like, because you're having this it release in your body as well, that just on the other side of it, you just kind of feel tired and exhausted and like, ugh, you just dumped all your life force. And you're not going to be a very good leader on the other side of just like jacking off for some porn. You ain't going to be making some powerful decisions or powerful moves in your life. I can guarantee that.
Do you see sexual energy in the like kind of the Taoist Qigong sense that ejaculation is not necessarily always to be chosen. Instead, cultivate and circulate the sexual energy and just leave it be.
Yeah, I think there's a timeline, in 1 to 2 weeks, like I find is good for retaining. I find like energetically I feel really good after a couple of weeks. I've played with like way longer than that as well. It just really depends on also knowing your body, knowing like, okay, maybe ejaculating every time you have sex is not supporting the energetic demands that you have in your life, but maybe ejaculating once a week is something that like refuels you and replenishes you, and that feels really good. So it's like really honoring like what you want as an individual and what your body needs, and those nuances I think are important. It's hard to give like a blanket statement as like how long one should retain, but I definitely have found for me there's a benefit to allowing that sexual energy to circulate in its own way and learning to build it up and be okay with more of that like sexual energy being in my body. I've learned a lot through noticing that and allowing that.
Yeah, 100%, man. Last little question. Who are the people you look up to in the space you're in with men's work and the intentional relational stuff and emotional intelligence?
I've had a few like mentors over the years, like Chris Bear was a good friend of mine, and we've done a lot of work together over the years, and he's someone I hang out with when we're in the same city. So he's been a big inspiration for me.
Does he ever talk faster?
No, it doesn't. No, it's great. It's great. I love it. He really slows me down. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
And in the relational space, GS Youngblood's book was such a big impact for me. So I really owe a debt of gratitude to him for that knowledge that he passed on through that book. And then, outside of that, I'm kind of like learning to not let too much personal development come in my life at the moment. I'm going through a period where I'm like trying to synthesize my own perspective and the abundance of information that's out there. I find for me kind of like having time off social media and time off podcasts and YouTube is really good for me to just like consolidate what I deeply want and my perspective in the world. So yeah, I kind of go through that every single week where I take 24 hours of technology and just kind of do nothing, allow myself to get bored, and some great ideas come through during that time. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, happy incubation period to you, brother. You're doing a really good job. And
thanks, man.
All this stuff you're sharing, I'm really grateful for this conversation today and just all the wonderful insights that you're sharing with me through this, and also with your work in the world and through like all the stuff you're putting on Instagram and the men's retreats and everything. It's just really, really cool, bro. If somebody's listening to this and they're like, Jordan's the fucking man, and I'd rather listen to him talk than Braxton, where do they need to go to find you, follow you, do stuff you do, and be a part of what you're teaching?
Well, thanks for having me on, bro. It's good to go at it again, second time around and 3 years later. Like, let's see. Hopefully it's not going to take so long between the next podcast that we do. But I think, Jordan Camlish 01 on Instagram. I have a podcast as well on Spotify and YouTube. And that's it, man. Like doing retreats. I got a retreat coming up in about a week or two. It's about a week now in Ontario, Canada. Probably do another retreat in December. Like that's the thing that really fulfills me the most. And then I do the online men's groups as well for the guys who want to have that consistency online and be in a container with other guys who are kind of doing this work and being held accountable to this next level of leadership in their life. So yeah, mate, if they find me on Instagram, I'm sure they'll get some more details about all of those things. But yeah, man, I appreciate you a lot. It's been great to dive into this conversation.
Fantastic, man. Thank you.
Thanks, bro.